It's too chaotic this year, family's full. You're not invited. My stepdad's voice crackled over the phone like static on a dying radio. Then silence. The kind that breaks something inside you. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just said, okay. That night, my daughter asked if Grandpa had forgotten her name again. My son kept looking out the window, like someone was still coming. They both had their holiday outfits laid out by their beds, untouched. HY everyone. My name is Tinsley, I'm 33. And when you grow up being treated like a guest in your own bloodline, you learn to stay quiet, smile, and show up anyway. But this year, I didn't even get the chance. And if this ever happened to you, say same in the comments. I had RSVP'd yes. Bought a sparkly red dress. Wrapped presents for every cousin, uncle, even that distant niece who never spelled my name right. I spent 3 weeks planning a dessert platter shaped like a snowflake. But the call came 2 days before. Too chaotic. Not enough chairs. Nothing personal, my stepdad had said. My mom? Silent. As always. So I stayed home. My kids and I watched cartoons with the volume too loud, just to fill the emptiness. Then, I opened Facebook. And my jaw locked. My brother's ex-wife, the one who once stole my earrings, was sitting front and center at the table. 2 neighbor teens, one wearing my son's old sweater, passed mashed potatoes across the linen-covered buffet. Everyone was laughing. Clinking glasses. Toasting with cranberry punch. But my kids? Crumbling. My daughter traced hearts on the frosted window with her finger. My son whispered, "Do you think they forgot us?" I stood up. Walked to the coat closet. Pulled out every beautifully wrapped present. Set them on the dining table. Unwrapped each one. Photographed them all. And sent one single text. Returning these today. 40 minutes later, tires screeched outside my house. My doorbell slammed twice. And then, pounding. Yelling. My mother's voice shrieked through the wood. "Tinsley, open this door right now." I opened it. And saw something I hadn't seen since I was 12. Her eyes. Afraid. She barged in before I could even step aside. Snow flurried past her coat sleeves like dust off an old secret. "What do you think you're doing?" she snapped, her eyes scanning the gift still on the table, now unwrapped, now ordinary. I didn't answer. I just stood there, arms crossed, letting her words echo in a house that smelled like cinnamon and silence. "You embarrassed me," she shouted. "You made it seem like we excluded you." I tilted my head. "Didn't you?" She stammered. "We didn't think it was a big deal. It's just, your stepdad thought it would be easier, too many people already." "Right," I cut her off. "So you invited neighbors. And my brother's ex. But not your daughter. Or your grandkids." Her lips pursed into a line so tight it could slice through bone. "I didn't make the list," she muttered. I laughed once. Not loudly. The kind that feels like it rips your chest open a little. "Exactly. You never do. You never make the list, Mom. You just go along with whatever makes the loudest person comfortable." She opened her mouth to argue. But my daughter peeked into the hallway. "Nana." My mom turned. Softened. "Hi, sweetheart." But my daughter didn't smile. She looked confused. Like her heart hadn't caught up with her hope. "I waited for you," she whispered. My mom's face fell. And that's when I saw it, that flicker of shame, the way her hands trembled as she reached out. But my daughter just stepped back. Slowly. Like her little body instinctively knew what my adult self had always ignored. I didn't say another word. I simply picked up the first present, a wooden puzzle shaped like the solar system, and dropped it into a return bag. My mother's eyes widened. "You're really going to do this?" I nodded. "Every gift, every receipt. I'm done buying a seat at your table." She stood still, watching. And then she said something so quietly, I almost missed it. "You think you're so righteous now. But you don't know the whole story." And just like that, she walked toward the door. But not before glancing back with eyes full of something I couldn't yet name. The door clicked shut behind her, but the silence she left behind felt heavier than her presence ever did. I stood there a long time, my fingers resting on the tape dispenser beside the half-filled return bag. My son came in next. Is Nana mad? I knelt down, brushed his curls aside. No, baby. She's just confused. But I wasn't. Not anymore. That night, I lay awake, scrolling. Facebook again. More pictures. A video now. Someone had posted a pan of the dinner table. It paused briefly on an empty seat. Labeled with a glittery name card, reserved, T. T. My initial. Not Tinsley. Not Mom. Just T. A placeholder. As if I were never fully real. I stared at it until the screen blurred. My hand tightened around my phone. This wasn't just a seat. It was a pattern. The time they forgot my birthday and said, "Oh, we thought you'd be working anyway." The year they sent everyone matching pajamas, except us. The way my stepdad never used the word daughter when talking about me. Always her. I got up, walked to the hallway closet. Opened a bin marked keepsakes. Inside. A handmade card from second grade that read, "Maybe one day you'll be proud of me." A hospital bracelet from my daughter's birth. No one had visited. Just a voicemail, "Call us when you're discharged." And beneath it all, a printed email from years ago. From my mom. Subject, "Please don't cause a scene." Body. "If you show up, try not to bring up the divorce. Your stepdad doesn't like tension." That was the night I had planned to tell them about my ex. The night I was choking on heartbreak and silence. And they were worried about tension. I dropped the keepsake box beside the bag of returns. Past and present, all side by side now. Then my phone buzzed again. This time, a message from my aunt. "Hey, just so you know, your mom's been telling everyone you chose not to come." I stared at the screen. No tears left. Only one thought. She didn't just lie. She rewrote the entire narrative. By morning, 3 more messages rolled in. "Cousin Lila. Heard you skipped dinner again. Thought you were over the drama. Uncle Terry. Your mom said you needed space. We all understood." A former neighbor, Mrs. Keene, of all people, even chimed in. "Family's complicated, sweetie. Hope you find peace." Peace? I wasn't searching for peace. I was searching for the truth, buried beneath years of polite lies and edited group texts. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened a blank email. To everyone. Subject, "Since no one asked." I began typing. Slowly. Every word a matchstick. I didn't skip anything. I wasn't invited. My children weren't invited. We were erased. I included the screenshot of my stepdad's message. The unwrapped gifts. The name card that simply said T. And then, the video of my daughter crying in her red velvet dress. I hit send. Seconds later, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was my older cousin, Reese. We hadn't spoken in years. "Tinsley. Just saw the email. I'm so sorry. Can I call you?" I said yes. Her voice was soft, hesitant. "I always wondered why you drifted. But now I realize, you didn't." They pushed. I sat on the floor, back against the cold hallway wall, and we talked for over an hour. She told me stories, ones that mirrored mine. Unseen birthday invites. Family jokes made at her expense. How our stepdad always acted like warmth was a currency we had to earn. "I remember," she whispered, "how your mom started changing around him. Like she was scared to breathe wrong." I swallowed hard. "She still is." There was a pause. Then Reese said something I hadn't expected. "You know what hurts the most? We keep trying to prove we belong, to people who've never once made room for us." Her words stayed with me long after the call ended. I looked around my house. The tree lights still twinkled. Stockings still hung. But for the first time, I wasn't waiting for them to show up. I was wide awake. And for once, I wasn't going to let their silence narrate my story anymore. That night, I made a new list. Not of gifts. Not of names to buy for. A list of boundaries. No more holiday invites unless they come with respect. No more explaining myself to people who already decided who I am. No more letting my kids think neglect is normal. I taped it inside my kitchen cabinet, right next to the recipe for gingerbread muffins. Because healing, I figured, needed to be part of the routine now. Something ordinary. Something I could reach for every morning. The following day, another message came. This time, from my brother. Did you really have to make Mom cry? She's been a wreck. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded him the Facebook video, the one where his ex laughed with a plate of deviled eggs, while my kids stared out our living room window waiting for a knock that never came. 2 hours later, he sent a follow-up. Short. But different. That wasn't right. I'm sorry. Still, it didn't fix anything. Because truth is, sometimes sorry is just a bandage over a bullet wound. And mine had been bleeding for years. In the afternoon, I took my kids to the park. We made snow angels. Drank cocoa from mismatched mugs. My son threw a snowball that hit me square in the face, and for the first time in days, I laughed. A real one. Not sharp. Not bitter. Just joy, rising like steam in the cold air. As we walked back, I noticed a package on our porch. No return address. Inside, 3 wrapped gifts. A card. No handwriting. Just typed words. For the ones we forgot. Forgive us, or don't. But no, we noticed too late. No signature. I stared at the box, my heart tight in my chest. The kids looked up at me, waiting. And in that moment, I realized something profound. Closure doesn't always come from the people who hurt you. Sometimes, it's a quiet decision you make on your own doorstep. So I knelt beside my children. Held them close. And whispered, "We are our own family now. No more waiting to be chosen." 3 days passed. No more doorbell rings. No apologies. No explanations. Just silence, the kind that says they are hoping you forget. But I didn't. Not this time. The story kept spreading. Aunt Naomi shared my email on her church Facebook page, captioned, "When silence becomes betrayal, read this." By the end of the week, over 40 people had commented. Some shocked. Some admitting they'd seen the pattern but never said a word. And some, especially the older relatives, dismissing it all as drama. But the truth was already out there. I didn't need them to approve it. I got a call from my mom on the 6th day. I let it ring. Then go to voicemail. "Hi, Tinsley. I know you're upset. But it's not like we meant to hurt you. Your stepdad just didn't want tension. I told him you might not take it well. Maybe you're being a little sensitive. Anyway, call me when you're ready to be reasonable." Click. Reasonable. That word has always been her weapon of choice. She used it when I cried after my stepdad scolded me for eating the last orange. She used it when I wanted to attend therapy instead of Sunday dinner. She used it when I asked her, once, to just call me her daughter in front of him. But I wasn't being sensitive. I was finally seeing the truth. And sometimes, the truth looks like this. A door you stop opening. A table you stop begging for a seat at. A holiday you reclaim, not for what it should have been, but for what you deserve. So I made a new tradition. I invited Reese. 3 single moms from my daughter's school. My next-door neighbor, Miss Alana, who hadn't had company since her husband passed. We made a big pot of chili. Played music. Watched silly Christmas movies. The laughter in my living room that night? It didn't sound like survival. It sounded like home. And as I tucked my kids into bed, my daughter asked, "Are we still part of the family?" I kissed her forehead. "No, sweetheart. We are the family now." The following week, my doorbell rang again. But this time, it wasn't my mother. It was my stepdad. Alone. Hands in his coat pockets, jaw clenched, eyes scanning everything but my face. He looked smaller. Like something in him had crumbled, maybe pride, maybe illusion. I didn't invite him in. He didn't ask. "I thought I'd come by," he said. Flat. As if visiting the grocery store. I nodded once. Waited. He cleared his throat. "My wife's not doing well. This thing has her all torn up." I raised an eyebrow. "This thing?" He winced. "Look, we didn't expect you to blow it up like that." My laugh came out colder than the wind. "You mean tell the truth?" His eyes flicked to the wreath on my door. Then to the empty return box still sitting on the porch, folded now, but visible. "You always were dramatic," he muttered. And there it was. That sentence. The one I'd spent decades swallowing like broken glass. Right, I said. And you always preferred women who stayed quiet. That made him flinch. But I didn't stop. You think this is about Christmas? About an invite? I stepped closer. This is about being erased. Over and over. Until I believed I was too much to love. Until my kids thought being forgotten was normal. His mouth opened, but no words came out. And now you're here, I continued, not because you're sorry, but because your curated little world cracked, and people noticed. Silence. Just wind brushing the side of the house. A chime from the tree inside. I didn't think it'd matter this much, he finally said. I looked him in the eyes. It always mattered. You just never looked close enough to see it. He nodded once. Not in agreement, just acknowledgement. Then turned and walked away. No apology. No promise. Just retreat. And that was enough for me. Because I wasn't waiting anymore. That night, I pulled out one last ornament from the bottom of the box, a small, cracked heart my daughter made in preschool. I placed it at the top of the tree. Right where it belonged. No longer hidden. No longer small. New Year's came without a single text from them. No happy holidays. No we miss you. No last-minute invitations to pretend nothing happened. And for the first time in my life, I didn't need one. We hosted our own countdown. My daughter cut star shapes out of leftover wrapping paper and taped them to the walls. My son stayed up past midnight for the first time, eyes wide with wonder as confetti filled the living room. There were no matching outfits. No curated family photos. No approval required. Just warmth. Just truth. Just us. Later that week, I sat alone on the couch with a mug of tea, scrolling through my camera roll. Photo after photo. None of the gifts I'd bought. None of the fake smiles. Just my children, laughing with chocolate on their cheeks, holding hands with women who once felt like outsiders too. A table filled with people who had no obligation to show up, but did. A home built on presence, not performance. And somewhere in the quiet of that moment, I felt it. That soft, seismic shift. The letting go. Not forgiveness, not yet. But release. A release from waiting. From hoping. From begging to belong. Because the truth is, I'd never been too much. They were simply too little. Too little courage to stand up for me. Too little love that wasn't measured in convenience. Too little space in a family that shrank to fit everyone except me. And now? I was done shrinking. In the months that followed, I didn't send photos. Didn't reach out. Didn't chase. I planted herbs with my kids on the windowsill. Started a Friday night pajamas and pancakes tradition. Painted over the wall in the hallway where my stepdad once hung his photos, replacing them with ours. One afternoon, my daughter looked up and asked, "If Nana calls again, will we go back?" I smiled gently. "No, honey. We're not going back. We're going forward." She nodded like she understood more than her years should allow. And for the first time in a long, long time, I believed it, too.